And when I went to the University of Chicago, one of the great focuses there was on Aristotle and Plato, who you mentioned. They were mainly Aristotelian. I always liked Plato, but we had to study in the synthesis course there, Organizations, Methods, and Principles of Knowledge. We had to read Plato's Republic. And I got the right-wing bowdlerized theory of what Plato and Socrates were saying in the Republic. And what we were told, well, it's all about you want a noble dictator. You want a smart person who can run everything. In other words, someone like Robert Hutson wanted a dictator for the United States. So this was a very right-wing faculty. And for them, it's all about you need a guardian, intelligent guardian. They had many words for that, the social king. They expurgated the entire frame of Plato's Republic, which it may be relevant for our discussion. Shall I mention it?
Yeah, please.
It began where Socrates is talking to an Athenian who's complaining about the fact that he has to pay a debt to somebody. And Socrates said, well, do you really have to repay something you borrowed? Suppose that somebody has lent you a weapon. And you know that if you give that you need to fight in the army for a while or whatever reason, you have to give him back his weapon. But you know that he's a psychotic killer. You know that he's a dangerous man. Is it right to repay a debt, to give the weapon back to this man who you know is going to use it to injure other people? The Athenian, isn't really sure. And Socrates says, well, let's then talk about this debt that you owe. Suppose you give the money back to the creditor, and the creditor uses this money to lend to other people, and he lends to a poor cultivator, and the cultivator ends up having to work off the debt by working on the creditor's land, not on his own land. And suppose that the creditors get together and they take over society, and all of a sudden they're running the government, and they're exploiting society, and it's a crisis. Is it right that you should repay these people? Well, that's the framework. And Socrates says the problem, the Athenian says, well, why would creditors act in so self-destructive a way? Can't we just have a really smart rulers that are going to prevent this kind of crisis? And Socrates says, well, there's something about the mentality of wealthy people that's called wealth addiction or money love. And you have Athenian drama. Aristophanes writes plays about wealth addiction and hubris causing a downfall. And Socrates says it's really very much like hubris. They can't help but just wanting more and more. It's not Socrates explained that the whole basis of modern neoclassical trade theory is absolutely wrong. Neoclassical trade theory says when you get more bananas, you get satiated, and each new banana gives you less and less pleasure, and so you want to drop it. But Aristophanes and Socrates and the whole of Athenian drama and philosophy in the 4th century said love of money is not like eating bananas. Money, unlike food, money is addictive. And the wealthy class, Socrates says, are going to get so addictive that they're going to just pursue their self-interest and greed of their money love to destroy society. And the Athenian says, well, isn't there something, there must be some way. How do we get out of this trap? And Socrates said, well, for one thing, you're going to have a very special kind of ruler. You're not going to want to pick your ruler from the rich families, because if they come from the rich family, they're going to grow up with wealth addiction. with money addiction. You're going to have the ideal ruler not have wealth of his own. And he described, how do you get somebody that's freed from this debt, this creditor disease? That's what the Republic's all about. Not a word for that did I ever get at Chicago. They're all for the creditors. Of course, it was called Rockefeller University. John D. Rockefeller endowed it as a Baptist college. So.